All right. Now, all of our brass pieces are done. We've put all the roses on them and they're nice and dry. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to take all of our glass pieces. I'm going to show you on the D. We're going to take all of our glass pieces and we're going to make sure, using rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip, just go around the corners on your tinned tape and just wipe it carefully. Now, the tape has all been down, burnished really well. So we're going to take our corner pieces, and what we're going to do with our corner pieces is we're going to take some E6000 glue. We're going to see, you might want to bend them a little to lay the way you want, because you want them to lay right on there. They're not hard to bend. Basically want to lay them, make sure that they see where you want them to lay before you go back and really do it. But you can move them around, it doesn't matter. So, we've got them where we want them, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick them up, and I remember where they lay, so I'm going to use my E6000 and I'm going to put it where it's going to be, touching the glass and the metal. You want to use enough so that they stay, and then be really careful. Lay them down where you want them, just like that. And then you're going to use a clamp, being really careful. You're going to take your clamps and you're going to clamp it down, making sure that it's in the right place. If it slides, push it back, just like this. You want them to be secure like that. Going to do the same thing for the bottom. Uh-oh, that just slipped. Do the same thing with the bottom. It's mostly going to be laying on glass. You want it to lay, the bevel edge comes down a bit, so you want to make sure that they're like bent a little so they'll lay directly where you want them to. And you just kind of want the sides of your brass right here to kind of flush with the sides of the metal tape and the glass, so it just fits. And these little pieces on the bottom, right there, they'll just kind of sit on the corner, so they'll cover up your corner. So, I'm going to glue all that right there. Just like this. I want to put a decent amount. Remember, you can come back later and clean up your glue. You can paint over your glue too. So, I want to make sure. I'm going to take a medium-sized clamp and I'm going to use that. I'm going to clamp it in the center first. See, I'm going to move that. I don't want to move it. Okay, that's perfect. Then I'll come back, two on the side, just like that. And then, of course, I'm going to go do the same thing with this one. And I'm going to do that to all 6 of them. When all 6 of them are done, and you can also put your brass and rose piece, you can glue it down the same way on your cone. But make sure when you glue the back of your brass piece that has the rose to go on your glass glitter cone, put the glue right in the center of the brass piece. and then lay it down on your glitter cone, because you don't want the E6000 glue to get on your glass glitter because it'll turn yellow. So don't put too much, but if you get any, if it seems to squeeze out, you can't clamp them either, but that's all right. You're just going to lay it and, you know, make sure that it's secure, and you're just going to leave that. So back to the brass, what you're going to do is you're just going to leave all 6 of these. Once they're glued, you're going to leave them for 8 to 12 hours. Then we're going to come back and we're going to do our rhinestone. Okay, now that all of our brass is completely adhered to our glass pieces, I'm going to show you that you can now put on your rhinestones. All we're going to do is we're going to take our E6000 glue. You can either use a needle or just do it this way, whatever you're comfortable with. And I want you to put it in the little hole of your roses. Put it in the little hole in this rose on our crown. Now obviously I'm not doing every single thing, but you guys get the gist of what we're doing here on the crown and everything. So just take your rhinestones and set them right there. Just give them a little bit of a press. They should just sit right there really well. Now obviously you can put more. You can bling up the whole thing if you want. It's really your choice. Now, if you want to put a lot of them on your crown, it's going to be the same thing as the roses. It's going to be really time consuming, but it's worth it in the end. You're going to take your Q-tips and your alcohol again, and every single place that you want to put a rhinestone, you're going to do this, just like we did with the roses. You're just going to clean that little area really well and get the wax out and everything. Like I'm going to put one there. And there. And we're just going to do that all the way around. Unless you don't want to, you don't have to. So I'm going to take my E6000. Put it in my rose. I'm only going to be able to do 3 rhinestones at a time because I have to balance. And then you have to let it sit in front of a high fan, like I said, for like 10 or 15 minutes until it's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to put little E6000 on that spot that I cleaned, and then right below it right there I'm going to put some more E6000. And remember, you can always clean your glue up later. To me, the more rhinestones, the better. But not everybody's into bling as much as me. So, going to let that balance and dry. And we're going to go ahead and do that all the way around your crown until you're done, until it's time to be done with it. All right, so now, once your rhinestones on your glass pieces have set under the fan for about 10 or 15 minutes, and you know they're not going to go anywhere, I want you to come back and go and get your acrylic paint And I just want, you don't have to do this. You can if you want, you don't have to. You can go in and you can paint your metal. And like I said, if it gets on the glass, don't worry about it. I'm going to go down in between, because you can see it down inside there. And what you can do is you can go in there and get all your metal painted. I'm going to do probably about 3 coats. You're going to let it dry really well in between. Now you can't paint this beforehand because then your glue isn't going to adhere. It's just not. It's just going to be a mess. So you have to do this after your brass pieces have been glued on. And once you have about 3 coats of that all the way around on your metal, you're going to go back with your wax carefully. And you can do the same thing with your wax. You don't have that you did before on there. You don't have to do it that way. And you have to be careful because that will come off. So you have to be really careful with your rag. Because that paint is probably going to take several weeks before it's completely adhered to your metal. Because you can't bake it like we bake the brass pieces. But like I said, you don't have to do it. You can just leave it. Or you can blacken the tin tape with Novacon and then clean it with alcohol where you're putting your brass on, like we did with our other banner back in, I believe it was March. Okay, so once that's all dry, I'll come back in and wax it, and we'll take another look. Okay, everybody, everything's done. We've put all of our rhinestones around our crown, and it took a long time. It took a couple days, but I think it's worth it. And you can put ribbon if you like on your cone. And then your banner piece, there's little holes on the top, and you can run your ribbon through that and string it along all the letters. If you like, it'll be sturdier if you have some chain. You can just use the ribbon and tie the ribbon to attach your banner pieces to a chain. It'll be a lot sturdier, and I think it'd be really pretty. You can do whatever you want, but you can buy brass chain anywhere online. It's pretty easy. And just blacken it. You can even get it at Michael's. I think you can get real brass chain at Michael's, but you probably want to go online. Or you can go to Diana Cooley. She sells it. And pretty much done. You guys are free to do whatever you want with your creations, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you're not turned off because it took so long. Anyway, I appreciate you all, and see you next month.